See, this is exactly what I was trying to warn people would happen, and we're not even to the June showcase yet, right? And regardless of whether it's bullplop or not, it's going to be easy for people to kind of say stuff like this and then pick up the hits and pick up, Steam and things like that. And Microsoft is never going to come out and deny or confirm, what games are exclusive or what games aren't or anything like that. And so we're stuck in this kind of rut where this is going to continually happen time and time again, and it's super unfortunate because I think Xbox and fans deserve much better than this, right? We do. We deserve so much better than this, and it's so frustrating as a fan right now to even be a fan. So we see this kind of pop up, and it's a rumor. And listen, this guy, Risket Biscuit or whatever the hell his name is, I don't care. And I never heard of this guy. I've seen him around on Twitter. He's definitely not an insider. He doesn't know jack squat. And I'll get into this anyway. So the rumor is Hellblade 2 on PlayStation, the Xbox exclusivity rumors will now never end. You can argue the merits of whether or not Xbox putting some of its games on PlayStation will be good in the long run. In the short run, at least some early examples seem to be going well, like Sea of Thieves recently topped the pre-order charts on PlayStation. But what is clear is that the new strategy means that essentially every past, present, and future release from Xbox is going to be subject of rumors and speculation that it will be headed to PlayStation at some point. Now, this time around, we have a report that this year's Hellblade 2, Xbox's would-be Game of the Year contender, if they can pull it off, may be going to PlayStation as well. This is from Risket for Biscuit, who says Hellblade 2 is getting a PS5 port, which he says he confirmed with 4 separate sources. Now, Windows Central's Jez Gordon said that this was false. Now, this isn't about this specific rumor at all, just this one. He sort of doubts this is happening personally, just like I do, but it comes attached with another permanent rumor about Starfield going to PlayStation, which we've been hearing about since before the first 4 crossover games were revealed. And now it seems like the case that every Xbox exclusive is going to be scrutinized about whether or not it's exclusive, timed exclusive, or not exclusive at all. One of the reasons this is happening is because Xbox has not ruled anything out. When Phil Spencer teased 4 games that were heading to rival systems, he said they were not Starfield or Indiana Jones, which were 2 prevalent rumors at the time. And while that was true, in his follow-up interview, Spencer declined to rule out any game as sacred enough to never be considered for multi-platform release. He said, "I don't think we as an industry ever rule out a game going to another platform, but we're focused on these 4 games and learning from the experience." Now, Phil doesn't think they should ever rule out a game, so again, that means everything is going to be subject to the speculation. Another rumor previously was that the most sacrimonious Xbox IP of them all, Halo, could head to PlayStation as Xbox tries to expand the Halo multiplayer base. Past Gears of War games were also rumored, now Hellblade 2, and still as ever Starfield. You can really come up with a rationale for any of these given Microsoft's past explanation. In this case, Hellblade 2 is a pricey game that will launch on Game Pass and may want its profile and sales elevated with a PlayStation release. Starfield also launched on Game Pass, so many of these have to do with Game Pass discouraging console sales. And the idea that there may be able to sell a few million more copies of the expense of a $70 recoup, more development costs, and turn more of a profit. Again, there is potential justification for that. But there's also, you have to worry about what it does to your idea of your platform. Okay, well, if people realize that eventually everything's going to come over, that totally kills any reason and rationale to buy your Xbox. So it's too early to tell whether it's a good or bad idea. I personally think it's bad. Microsoft starts using Sony as a vehicle to print money from the former or current exclusives, which would no longer really be exclusive. That may be considered mission accomplished, but if it devalues Xbox to the point where people do not actually want Xboxes or Game Pass and they just want a PlayStation, whoops, Sony has its own issues limiting the reach of its big budget AAAs to a console itself, except for PC releases often years later, though they have shown no interest in trying Microsoft's share model. So again, we have this situation where these rumors come up, and they're going to continue to come up, right? And Microsoft has nobody to blame but Microsoft, and I've been very, very evident with this and kind of this sticking point and talking point, because Microsoft does this all to themselves. They have nobody to blame but themselves. And when you even look at a situation like sort of what's going on with Blade, right? Blade, to be honest with you, we don't even know. I mean, is that even going to be coming to Xbox, right? Like, is that an Xbox game? Is it a next-gen Xbox game? Is it a PlayStation exclusive? Like, at this point, who really even knows, because there was no logo, there was no nothing on there. So, you know, we're not sure. So this is why I said I think this June is going to be a very interesting time. And the reason why it's going to be a very interesting time is because we're going to see how people react for the first time after this news with like new announcements and things. So there might be some killer announcement, right? And we all think it's exclusive, but is it going to be exclusive? Like, they are really killing their hardware sales right now. They are I mean, I don't know exactly what they are. We know they're last place, and we don't have an exact number, but I can't imagine that these hardware sales are, you know, going to be doing very well. I mean, if you had to choose between an Xbox and a PlayStation, and an Xbox that just plays Xbox games and some third-party games and less third-party games as we go along, or a PlayStation that's going to play PlayStation and Xbox games and get, you know, lots of third-party exclusives and things like that, you know, which one do you think people are going to really get into? Like, I really think that that's going to be one that realistically kind of plays itself out. And, you know, it's funny because I don't want to say argue, because obviously people realistically are going to use that as some sort of a reason to sort of hate on it or whatever. I'm not necessarily arguing. Just like people, they're like, oh, well, you know, consoles have a cap, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't care about anything outside the console, right? Like, Microsoft has devalued their console. It's like, that's what they did. They devalued the console. You know, it's not going to be something that that they can recover from. I think not, at least not easily. So, you know, I think we'll see what happens. But again, does anybody really think that it's just going to be the 4 games? Like, I can't imagine that people would actually think that. And, you know, again, I think that Microsoft has done this to themselves, to the point where we're kind of looking at this and going, you know, every game should be questions, and I can't really argue against the people questioning it, right? Like, let's just be real. How could anybody question it, or any game, right? Oh, Fable, why would you question it? Oh, Gears of War, why would you question it? You know, because if you're okay with multiplayer games, then what game doesn't have multiplayer that Microsoft does? I mean, most every game has some kind of multiplayer, right? Oh, single player too? Well, Starfield. There you go, right? Like, there's literally, they can come up with anything, and they've just been caught lying so often that it's hard to really say, hey, I believe in them or I trust them. And I totally get why gamers are kind of losing faith in Xbox. But what do you guys think? I'll link this. Let me know. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.